Hey guys, welcome. In this video we're going to learn how to use while loops. I'll show you a couple different examples and then we'll also show you how to use the substring function. Okay? We'll talk about indexes and then we'll talk about how to extract characters from substrings. Substring function I use every single day basically for 5 years doing database programming, especially cleaning up data and so on. Okay, and while loops we also basically use so that you check a condition. If a condition holds, you repeat a block of code, and that block of code can do whatever you want it to do. You can get as clever as you want. Okay, so again, I would just many times use that to generate random data so I could do some statistical analysis and predictive stuff. Okay, so let's take a look. Here what we're going to do is the following. This is our default template. I already have it created so as to save time. I will paste some code. I will walk you through the construction of this code. I've tried to make this example non-trivial but still hopefully understandable. So integer x equals 1 and then you're going to say string s equals and then console.writeLine. I'm sorry, read line rather. We're going to read input and then close out with a semicolon. So why am I writing x equals 1? This means, okay, this is the counter variable. This is the counter variable, like this, okay? The next one here, read input from user. Otherwise, what will be the point of the program? So we're going to read input and process and produce output. The usual logical structure of a program. They're going to say while, they're going to say x is less than s dot length, you see? So a string has a length property. In other words, it tells you how many characters there are. All right? And now the question is, why have I said x less than rather than less than or equal to? Well, the reason is this. You're going to say string and then sub equals and then s.substring as 0. And notice here it says, go to the list, it says starting index and then the number of characters taken from the starting index. So 0, x and then dot to string. And S usually do it to upper like this. Okay? So to upper and close with a semicolon. There you go. Okay? So what this is saying is the following. Let's take a look first at a fixed case rather than a variable case of the stopping value in terms of characters. Imagine I gave you s.substring and I said 0 and then comma and then 4. Okay, so it says integer starting index, integer length. Okay? So it says the substring starts at a specified character position and has a specified length. So this means, imagine I gave you this string here. Okay? Let me comment this out. Imagine I gave you the string this. And here I put 1. Okay, so what would that get for us? That would get the following. It would get index 0 would be the letter T. And then starting from index 0, grab one character, that would be just the T. Okay? If you now increment this over to 2, that means start from index 0 and grab the next 2 characters, that would be th. Okay? Start from index 0, grab the next 3 characters, grab thi, and then start at index 0, grab the next 4 characters, and that would then finally be this. You see? So clearly varying this quantity here, as you can see that's a variable, right? Is grabbing a different number of characters every time. And that's why I have that within the body of the while loop. Okay, that's the reason for having that, alright? Now, I'll leave that comment there, I think it's useful. So this is of course the more general variable case. Then we're going to uppercase that. An uppercase for our purposes is a verb, you're uppercasing, okay? Even if it's not really by official rules. Then you're going to say console.writeLine and then sub and then close with a semicolon. Next you're going to say a plus x plus plus, close with a semicolon. Okay, why have I done this? There must be a reason. So the reason is very simple. X plus plus is a counter. The two little pluses together indicate adding 1. Okay, once I run the debugger, you'll see more vividly why that is so. Alright. Now notice something. Because x is declared at the level of this block here, it's accessible anywhere within the block. So that means now we can use x again. And another while. You're going to write a while, and then x is greater than or equal to 0. And within here, you're going to say the following. String sub equals s.substring, and then 0, x, and then dot to upper, and close with a semicolon. Now you have to keep in mind this fundamental fact. If the previous while loop has set the x, because it's counting up, if it sets it up to 10, for example, that means the next one where it says x is greater than or equal to 10, that means that will be beginning from 10, which means this substring here will begin at index 0 and grab the first 10 characters. You see? So it's going to make a peak. You'll see. It's going to give us a little pyramid turned on its side. You'll see what I mean in a second. And then you're going to say console.writeLine, and then you're going to sub, close with a semicolon, and now you're going to say x minus minus, which means decrease x by 1 every time the loop runs. Okay? Alright, now notice another thing, which is that the word sub here, as you can see, because this sub is declared within this while loop, it's a local variable. If you hover your mouse over it, see? There you go, and then you can declare it again within this one here, and it's a different local variable, okay? So keep that in mind, that this sub exists only within this while, this sub exists within this while, but x is at the scope of this block here, so it exists everywhere. Okay, so the same value of x that leaves this while loop is passed or used within the second while loop when it begins. Keep that in mind, okay? Alright, so that is that. I'm trying to be very careful and detailed here. Alright, so let's run this debug and step into. But details are everything, Details are absolutely essential. You must know them inside out. Once you know the details deeply enough, inside out, then everything else becomes trivial, because you know how to use the details well. Alright. So now let's take a look here. I'm going to pin this to the screen. So let me grab window on top. Let me grab and place this over here. Okay, so the next stage is to input a string and then run the program on the string. So let me minimize that. So first we're going to do this, set x equal to 1. We're going to read an input from the user. So I'm going to read the word this, that's it. Keep it simple, hit enter. Alright, now look very carefully. We're going to check the top of the loop. X is 1. Is that less than the length, which is 4? Yes. Right, so that means this is a true condition, okay? So that means the condition passes, you go into the body. And notice at first, as you can see, x is 0, and then, x is 1, and then we're going 0. So 0 to 1 means grab the first character, convert to uppercase, store in sub at display. There you go, and then as you can see at this point x is still 1, but now look very carefully, you're going to hit it with a double plus, and if you hover your mouse over x now, as you can see it's 2. So you're going to go back to the top of the loop, check the condition, grab the next substring, display it, increment, check the condition, next substring, display, increment, go to the top, keep checking, right? As you can see x is 4. That means the condition will fail at this point, okay, because the length is also 4. Well, 4 is not less than 4, it's equal to it, so the condition will fail. And notice that on the screen we've generated only thi, okay, because remember, if the last value of x used was 3, so from index 0, 3 characters means thi. And I've done it this way so that when you go down to the next while loop, look very carefully what happens. Right, this condition will fail. Now it's over here. Now as you can see, x is 4. It's going to go over here. Look very carefully. See, it's going to go over here, grab. So now remember, x is 4, so it's going from index 0, grabbing 4 characters and displaying. So look very carefully now. If I did not do that, then I would get this spelled out fully 2 times. I would not get a peak. And by a peak, I mean check the condition, grab the next 3. You see that? How this appears only 1 time. So for exactly the reason I have just described. And then decrement, that's a fancy way of saying subtract 1 from x. Keep checking the condition still passes, display, decrement. See that? There you go. And notice that now x, as you can see, has the value -1. That condition would clearly fail. See? And then the program exits, you see? In fact, here, let's take a look. If I put a 1 here, like this, okay? Let's take a look. Let's do it more quickly. Debug and start without debugging. Give it a sec. Enter some crazy long string. Hit enter. See, and then press any key to continue. So your assignment, in other words, changing out to a 1 also, works. And it says press any key to continue. There you go. So your assignment is the following. You will do this. You're going to go debug, start without debugging. And I want you to generate a sequence vertically of such triangular shapes. I want you to figure out how to do that. I've given you a good foundation with this code here. Okay? And I want you to figure out using a while loop, okay, to generate, say, 5 patterns that repeat of the kind that I have just shown you. Okay? 5. Use a while loop, position it correctly. You will have to introduce a new counter if you want. Okay? Variable, and position these 2 while loops somehow relative to a new while loop so that the code that I have shown you here will repeat 5 times and therefore generate 5 triangular shapes, or 10, or however many you want. You should be able to read that from the user, right? There you go. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much, guys. I know this was super detailed, but I hope you've learned a lot. And that's it. I'll see you in the next video.